Welcome to Metal Bent Chronicles. That's right, back with our first new video here on this channel in 2 weeks. That's right, you know, and we got a good one coming up here. I think it's going to be a good one at least. So I decided I'm going to do a video. And since I was born in 1978, I went through my collection. I dug out everything I own that came out in 1978, which came up to roughly 16 releases. There's a lot of stuff I'm definitely missing. Some important ones I'm definitely missing. A few I used to have. So this is not a top 15, top 10 list at all. Just basically showcasing what I have from 1978 for, the year I was born. Right. So we're going to get right into this because, a lot of these albums are going to be celebrating their 45th anniversaries, if some of them haven't already. So we're going to get started here. Okay, well, I guess we'll begin with this list right here. Like I said, this is not a top 10 list or anything like that, just due to the fact that I'm missing some gaps in my collection, so I can't really do a proper top 10. So anyways, here we go. Well, I guess we'll start out with this. Paul Stanley's solo album from Kiss. It's the only one I own. I used to have all four of them at one time. I need to get them all again. But this is the only one I still have. And ironically, I'm wearing a jeans shirt right now, as you see. Anyways. Not a bad album. It's got a couple good tracks on it. Like the opening track, Tonight You Belong to Me, I really enjoy. Move On's pretty good. I kind of like Ain't Quite Right, too. That's a pretty good song for being a slower track, and Bob Kolick plays a pretty nice guitar solo in it. What else is on here? It's Alright's a pretty good rocker. Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of You. Think of Me When You're Apart. I cannot stand that song. Goodbye's okay. Love and Change is pretty damn good. Yeah, it's the only one I have of the solo album still. Like I said, I need to get them all again. Here's one that came out in 78. And these guys were studio musicians prior to this coming out. Talking about the debut from Toto. It's got some hard rock on it. This one definitely has a lot of pop leanings too. But this is a pretty damn good debut. I mean, you got the famous Hold the Line on here, obviously. Georgie Porgy's kind of goofy but fun. Angela's an amazing track to close this album out. Really progressive. Pretty good album, though. Just trying to see. Either or, yeah. I'm having a hard time reading these tracks. Child's Anthem, that's a pretty cool track. I'll Supply to Love's a pretty good pop song. Yeah, man, the debut by Toto. Come on, man. Steve Lukather, man, one of the greatest guitar players in the world. You know? So, yeah, little on the poppy side, but it's got some hard rock, progressive rock moments. Okay, moving on. So then we got definitely my least favorite from Black Sabbath with Ozzy. Never Say Die. I mean, it's got its moments to open. I mean, the title track's obviously good. Never Say Die. I really like Junior's Eye. I like A Hard Road. A lot of people seem to not like that track, but I like it. Air Dance is freaking awesome. Really progressive and jazzy sounding. Yeah. Johnny Blade's alright. Not a great album. You can definitely tell the band's falling apart on this record. And they got blown off stage by Van Halen that year, so. But Sabbath would redeem themselves in a couple years, though. Ooh, this is a big one. Ooh, one of my favorites here. Yeah, I put a couple live albums in here. Double Live Gonzo by Ted Nugent. This thing smokes. Holy crap, a pretty shocking album at the time, too. It's probably one of the first albums, too, where they used the word fuck in it, you know. Really good live album. There's so much energy on here. God, yeah, man, you can just feel the raw energy coming out of Ted on this thing. Just amazing stuff. Moving on, so this would have been this band's 12th album. Uriah Heep's Fallen Angel. Yeah, this one I got on vinyl. I have it on CD too, my box set. I did not dig it out. In my Uriah Heep box set, that is. This one, it's not bad. It's definitely on the poppier side too. It's not as heavy as like the earlier Uriah Heep. I mean, like Falling in Love's okay. Come Back to Me's a pretty powerful ballad. Be a pretty powerful ballad. Excuse me there. The title track, Fallen Angel, is pretty good. Yeah, not one of the best albums. It's got the late John Lawton on it on vocals. Not too bad. It's all right. So moving on. Just seeing here, okay. Now this is a scorcher of an album here, man. UFO Obsession, featuring Michael Schenker. It would have been his last album at the time. This thing is just incredible, man. Holy cow, it's this good. And again, I'm having a hard time reading the track listing on here. Yeah, man. But there's a lot of good stuff on here. I mean, what more could be said? It's freaking UFO. It's an amazing album. Oh man, speaking of Schenker related, we got this right here, another barn burner of a live album, Tokyo Tapes. Probably in my top five when it comes to favorite live albums. So this would have been the last to feature Ole John Roth on guitars. Wow, man, you talk about an excellent guitar tone on this. Holy crap, man. This is a barn burner of a live album. It's got really good production on it for being a live album. And yeah, and I have it on CD too. What do I do with it? Yeah, right there. Got Tokyo Tapes on CD. Really, really good stuff, man. Get an excellent version of Fly to the Rainbow on here. He's a Woman, She's a Man, Steam Rock Fever, Dark Lady. It's got all the good stuff on it from the 70s and Trance. Pooh, so good. So then, this band had two albums out in 78. Talking about Judas Priest. With Hellbent for Leather. Trying to get that glare out of there. So yeah, I got this one on vinyl. Obviously, it's called Killing Machine in the UK. America found it too offensive to call it that, so they called it Hellbent for Leather, which I honestly don't get it. Whatever. Pretty good album. You know, it's got excellent barn burners on here like Delivering the Goods, Running Wild, you know, Rock Forever, you know, a lot of cool stuff on here. Also got it on CD. Right there's my CD version of Killing Machine, Hellbent for Leather. You know, it's a good album. I think there's another album that's a little better than this, and we will get to that here shortly. Okay, so moving on, we got another band that put out two albums in 78. Talking about Whitesnake. Got this debut little EP called Snakebite. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. What more could be said? One of my favorite Whitesnake tracks. This is when they were like straight up blues rock, hard rock, you know, basically in that Deep Purple style. And this would eventually feature a couple members from Deep Purple. I'm talking about Ann Pace and John Lord. However, I don't think they're on this one. But you get the great guitar playing of Mick Moody. You know, I know Neil Murray was on bass too. And then we get Trouble from 1978, their first full length album, which is another really good album. Yes. Probably not my favorite from that era. I think Ready and Willing from 80 would be my favorite, but you know what? This is still pretty good for, what it is. So, yeah, some Whitesnake. Hey, man, we got some more Ted Nugent coming up, too, with Weekend Warrior. This freaking album is a barn burner, too. You talk about scorcher. Man, this is good stuff. Again, it's very hard to read the track listing, so I do apologize for not reading off the track listing on all these, but I figured a lot of you probably know these albums anyways, you know. But this freaking album is so good. Man. Well, here's another one, followed up a pretty big album that came out 2 years prior. You know, the record company kept getting mad at Tom Schultz because he wouldn't put it out. I think they even threatened to sue him at one point. But we got the second Boston album, Don't Look Back. I would definitely say this is a great follow up to the debut. It's definitely in the style of the debut. I mean, the title track, Don't Look Back, You get The Journey. A Man I'll Never Be, my favorite track on here. You get Party, which, sounds like it could have been on the first Boston album. You know, Used to Bad News, Don't Be Afraid. I mean, this is a good follow up. Tom Schultz claims the album wasn't finished. I don't know, man. It's still pretty good. I mean, the debut's definitely a bit better, but it's still pretty damn good. Ooh. And we got the late Ronnie James Dio coming up with his last album with Rainbow, Long Live Rock and Roll. Man, this is a good album, man. You got the late Cozy Powell on here. You know, this is just a scorching album, man. Lady of the Lake's good. Oh my god, man. Gates of Babylon. What a great epic. Kill the King. Some early speed metal, early power metal. You know, Rainbow's Eyes. Pretty good stuff, man. Probably not as good as Rising, but it's still pretty damn good. Okay, up next, more Judas Priest. Stained Class. We just talked about these albums in another video about a month ago when they turned 45 years old. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is a damn good album. This is Judas Priest's first full-on heavy metal album, in my opinion. Oh my god, just good. And last but not least, ta-da! The first Van Halen album. You talk about a freaking scorching album, man. And they were blowing Black Sabbath off the stage in 1978 when they toured with Sabbath. Man, oh man. Yes. Great stuff. One of the greatest debuts of all time, man. What more could be said? And that's some of what I own from 78. Actually, that's everything that I could find that I own from 78. There's stuff I'm missing. I'm obviously missing, and I had to pull up the list here, so bear with me. Hemisphere by Rush. Probably my favorite Rush album. Power Rage by AC/DC. I had it a long time ago. It's one of the best AC/DC albums, Struck Down by Y&T, another good album. Well, he had From the Inside by Alice Cooper. It's all right. It's not one of my favorites from him. You got Kingdom of Madness by Magnum, pretty damn good album too. Jazz by Queen, another pretty damn good Queen album. And of course, you got Ace Frehley's solo album, which is my favorite solo album of the Kiss albums. And obviously Gene and Peters too, which meh. Let's see. Just looking here. Double Vision by Foreigner was a pretty good album. If You Want Blood, You've Got It. The live album by AC/DC. Wow, what a good album. Heavy Load with Full Speed at High Level, another excellent debut album. That could be a forerunner for what the new wave of British heavy metal would sound like. Easily. The Gods with their debut album, Piece of Eight by Styx, pretty good. The debut album by Gillan, Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy. Oh, need to get that. Guaranteed by Bow Wow, which Bow Wow was a band from Japan. They were pretty damn heavy for their time. Yes. The Who with Who Are You, another good album. The last to feature Keith Moon. Journey's Infinity. Status Quo with If You Can't Stand the Heat. And you had Live at Budokan by Cheap Trick. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video on 1978 albums that came out the year I was born that I own. You know, hey man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we got some more stuff coming on the channel, so stay tuned.